So, hello everyone. Hope you all are fine at your place. Today I am here with the module 3 of Business Communication Part 2. Right? So, module 3 comprises of business correspondence. Now, you all know basically in any business there are exchange of letters. Basically in today's world there might be no letters, there will be emails. But in some or the other way you have to correspond, you have to exchange the information. Right? So in this module we have to see the different type of letters, the different type of correspondences which the businesses use in their business transactions. Right? Now, this first chapter in this business correspondence is the trade letters. Now, what do you mean by trade letters? Trade means buying and selling of goods and services. So basically any business in which there you need to buy and sell. Of course business है तो buying and selling तो है ही, चाहे वो goods का हो चाहे वो services का हो, right? तो trade letters means those letters which are used for trading, which are used for buying and selling of goods and services in this commercial world. Commercial world means any place where you can earn profit. ठीक है, तो जहाँ पे भी आप basically profit कमा सको, that is a commercial world. तो trade letters, it means basically those letters which help the businesses to survive, those letters which helps the business to gain a profit. Okay, now these different trade letters might be enquiry letter, reply to enquiry letter, then there is sales letter, placing an order letter, collection letter, complaint letter, then there is adjustment letter and consumer grievance redressal letters. So basically these are the different types of letters which we are going to see in this topic. Okay, let's see one by one. So the first letter is the enquiry letter. The first letter is the enquiry letter. Now, business transaction begins with an inquiry. Business transaction किससे start होता है? With an inquiry. Right? अभी जब भी basically say for example किसी भी business को कोई भी टाइप का ऑर्डर प्लेस करना है तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ऑर्डर प्लेस करने से पहले डेफिनेटली देयर विल बी सम इंक्वायरीज कि आपका टर्म्स ऑफ पेमेंट क्या है, प्राइस क्या है, क्वालिटी कैसा है. ठीक है, तो ईच एंड एवरीथिंग कैन बी स्टेटेड इन एन इंक्वायरी लेटर. आप जो कुछ भी पूछना चाहते हो इन दैट पर्टिकुलर लेटर इट कैन बी स्टेटेड. ठीक है, दिस इज फॉर नोइंग द प्राइसेस, द टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस फॉर बाइंग अ प्रोडक्ट. Now, who sends this letter? Of course, the buyer will send the letter to the seller. Now, the inquiry letter can be classified into two parts. The first is the solicited letter of inquiry, and the other one is unsolicited letter of inquiry. Now, what do you mean by solicited letter? Whenever you place an inquiry, whether you have seen basically that you have seen in some or the other advertisement. ठीक है, whenever you place an inquiry, you does an inquiry when you have seen these things in an advertisement appearing in the newspaper or say posters or radios or TV. It is known as a solicited letter. Okay, then what do you mean by unsolicited letter of inquiry? Unsolicited ones are the letters which are sent by the buyer to the seller on his own initiative. ठीक है, फिर these buyer basically usually refers to directories or the trade journals or the business friends to find the names of the firms, then it is known as an unsolicited letter of inquiry. तो basically ये इनके बारे में हमें कैसे पता चला? Solicited ones में तो we have seen that particular ad in some or the other advertisement, but in unsolicited letter we have seen this हमको किसके थ्रू पता चला? फ्रॉम सम और ऑफ बिजनेस फ्रेंड्स और से फॉर एग्जाम्पल आर ट्रेड जर्नल्स और बिजनेस डायरेक्टरीज, बिजनेस जर्नल्स, सब बुक्स आती है, मैगजीन्स आती है, तो उनसे पता चला इन लेटर्स के बारे में, इन बिजनेसेस के बारे में. तो अकॉर्डिंगली वी हैव प्लेस्ड एन इंक्वायरी, राइट. तो बेसिकली दिस इज अबाउट इंक्वायरी. तो जो भी लेटर है, whenever you are framing a letter, then you have to first of all give the information of your enterprise. Basically आप buyer कौन है, buyer का आप नाम लिखोगे, एड्रेस लिखोगे, then you will state the phone number, fax number, email ID, वेबसाइट, जो भी आपकी सारी डिटेल्स है आप खुद की डिटेल्स प्लेस करोगे. then you will give the seller's information. Basically आप जिसको लेटर सेंड कर रहे हो, you will give that information. You will write the subject, letter of inquiry, and then the salutation, dear sir or madam. And after that, you will also give the body of the letter, right? The body of the letter will state whatever your questions are. Then you will give all the information. And finally, you will complimentary close. You will write complimentary close, yours faithfully or yours sincerely, and the buyer's name, right? In such a way, you have to draft a enquiry letter. Next letter comes as replies to enquiries. Now, this is a letter जो एक seller send करता है to the buyer. ठीक है? The seller has got the enquiry letter, तो he basically writes a sales reply to enquiry letter. जो भी आपसे question पूछे गए हैं buyer से, उनका आप यहाँ पे जवाब दे दो. तो a sales letter containing a sales message from the seller to the buyer, right? This letter should be replied promptly. बहुत ज़्यादा वेट नहीं करवाना चाहिए. इंक्वायरी आया ना, तुरंत आपको जवाब देना चाहिए, right? तो this reply letter must be sent promptly. The inquiry must be thanked for the inquiry. First of all, what must be done? You must thank, right? You must thank first of all. Then all the details must be stated in the letter so that no confusion arises. All the information must be stated clearly. The period for which the offer is open, all the terms and conditions of your contract, the price. Then it must also state that ट्रांसपेरेंसी मस्ट बी देयर. ट्रांसपेरेंसी मतलब जो भी बेसिकली हम आपको इंफॉर्मेशन दे रहे हैं वो कहीं पे भी प्लीज़ आप लीक मत करिए, ठीक है? दैट मस्ट बी स्टेटेड इन योर लेटर. अ फ्रेंडली एंड कोऑपरेटिव एटीट्यूड हैज़ द पावर टू ट्रांसफॉर्म द इंक्वायरी इनटू एन ऑर्डर. अगर आपने बहुत अच्छे से ड्राफ्ट किया होगा और रिप्लाई टू इंक्वायरी, डेफिनेटली that letter will convert into an order letter. ठीक है? तो it must be very prompt, clear, with all the terms and conditions, with no confusion, and basically the reply to inquiry letter will definitely turn out into a order letter. ठीक है? Next letter is order letter. तो basically when you have given all the information, जब आपने सारी की सारी इंफॉर्मेशन दे दी, देन उसके बाद क्या होगा? डेफिनेटली ऑर्डर आपके पास आएगा, राइट? तो बेसिकली आपको ऑर्डर मिलेगा फ्रॉम द बायर. ठीक है? तो अ बिजनेस सर्वाइव्स बिकॉज ऑफ गेटिंग ऑर्डर्स. Most orders are the outcome of enquiries, quotations और voluntary offers. तो basically order किसके वजह से मिलता है? basically पहले inquiry किया होगा, कैटलॉग वगैरह सेंड किया होगा, उसी की वजह से overall finally order place होता है. ठीक है? Now basically an order letter states that the seller will now make a profit. राइट? तो ऑर्डर लेटर मिला, इट मीन्स डेफिनेटली अब क्या होगा? अब सेलर को प्रॉफिट मिलेगा. सो प्रॉपर हैंडलिंग ऑफ द लेटर ऑफ ऑर्डर इज वेरी मच असेंशियल as it ensures development of the business and the goodwill. तो डेफिनेटली कहीं ना कहीं ऑर्डर लेटर को बहुत अच्छी तरीके से मेंटेन करना चाहिए, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं ये इससे बिजनेस का डेवलपमेंट जुड़ा हुआ है, राइट? सो ऑर्डर लेटर के बाद में द नेक्स्ट कम्स इज द टॉपिक ऑफ ट्रेड लेटर्स. नाउ वी आर एट कलेक्शन लेटर्स. सो Collection letters are those letters which are written to the customers, to the buyer from the seller, as the due date has arisen until yet no payment has been received from the buyer. So it is a collection letter. The main aim of writing this letter is to persuade the customer to settle the dues. Basically, due date आ गया, please settle the transaction. पैसे हमारे दे दो. Right? The main aim is to write basically to settle the dues. Second point is retain custom and goodwill. So basically to retain the goodwill, to retain the relation between the buyer and the seller. Third is the seller wants to persuade. Basically persuasion. Main aim. Now what do you mean by persuasion? Persuasion means convincing the buyer to please settle the dues. The language which must be used in collection letter is politeness. Basically politeness के साथ आपको letter लिखना है. Don't be rude. Never be rude with the customers until last situation arises. So basically, and in fact, the approach, the language in the collection letter must be very much accurate so that the dues can be settled as fast as they can. Right? After collection letter is the complaint and claims. Of course, it is the customer's duty and privilege to register a complaint when he is not satisfied with the product. Basically, जब भी कोई भी बंदा अगर किसी प्रोडक्ट से सेटिस्फाई नहीं होता, अगर से फॉर एग्जांपल वो प्रोडक्ट था गारंटी में है मगर ख़राब हो गया, से फॉर एग्जांपल डैमेज डिफेक्टिव प्रोडक्ट आया है, ठीक है, तो बेसिकली कोई भी चीज़ें हो सकती है, गुड्स जो है वो इन्फीरियर क्वालिटी के, डिले हो गया इन एग्जीक्यूशन, देन सप्लाइड इन अ वेरी डैमेज्ड कंडीशन, सप्लाइड इन रॉन्ग क्वांटिटी, रॉन्ग क्वालिटी, राइट, देन इट इज़ द ड्यूटी of the customer to complain and claim from the seller. Right? So basically such a letter is written by the buyer to the seller informing him about the product and placing a complaint. In return, the seller must see to it that the complaints and claims of the buyer are justified, are finally comes to an end. The reply must be there from the seller's point of view, from the seller's side, right? So now this, when the seller is basically adjusting the client's complaint or when he is attending the client's complaint, it is known as an adjustment letter. Now, replies to the letters of complaints are known as adjustment letters. What is the main aim? The main aim is to settle the claim. The main aim is to settle the claim, to restore the faith and goodwill of the customer. तो basically जो goodwill खराब हुआ है कहीं ना कहीं अगर customer जो है उसको बुरा लगा है तो finally वो rectify करने के लिए we write such kind of letters. Now what are the guidelines for drafting such an adjustment letter? First, reply should be prompt. Reply should be prompt. Then complainant should be thanked. Complainant should be thanked कि they have stated us the complaint. Then getting into an argument is never profitable, so you must always be polite. Then baseless complaints अगर होती है, fine, sometimes क्या होता है ना, कुछ customers basically there is no such complaint, but then too they file such a baseless complaints. So if such a customer is there who is filing just a baseless complaint, should be replied with a firm but polite no. ठीक है, इट इज़ नॉट लाइक द केस कि बेसिकली आपको हमेशा कस्टमर की बात सुननी है. कई बार सेलर ऐसा भी करता है कि अगर उसको लगता है कि जो भी कंप्लेंट है वो टोटली बेसलेस है, उसका कुछ भी मतलब नहीं बनता है, तो यहाँ पे एक फर्म तरीके से आप ना कह सकते हो कि सॉरी हमारे यहाँ तरफ से ऐसा कुछ भी हुआ नहीं है, तो सॉरी वी कांट हैंडल द सच अ कंप्लेंट. ठीक है, तो लाइक देन यू कैन रिप्लाई विद अ फर्म नो. Okay, so these were the different letters which we have learned in the first chapter of module 3, that is the trade letter. Now, what do you mean by sales letter? Sales letter is the letter which is drafted by the seller and given to a prospective buyer. That means a person who can become our buyer. That is a prospective buyer. So it is given by a seller to the prospective buyer so that he can make a desire in that particular person to buy our product. Okay? That is a sales letter. It must be very carefully drafted as it increases the profits of the business. जितना ज़्यादा सेल होगा उतना ही ज़्यादा प्रॉफिट मिलेगा. तो इसीलिए सेल्स लेटर को बहुत ध्यान से बहुत अच्छे से ड्राफ्ट करना चाहिए. ठीक है? The structure of the sales letter should be comprises of 4 words. Basically 4 words means basically 4 बातें उनमें होनी चाहिए एक सेल्स लेटर में. That is the attention, interest, desire and action, which is also popularly known as EDA formula. ठीक है? Now what do you mean by attention? Basically the letter should be drafted in such a way that the buyer gets attracted, gets basically attention create होता है, वो कहीं ना कहीं पढ़ने पे मजबूर हो जाए. तो ऐसा लेटर आपको ड्राफ्ट करना है. Then it must create interest. क्या प्रोडक्ट है, उसकी क्या फीचर्स होगी, यार इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा है, लेट मी रीड द होल लेटर nicely and then I will take the decision whether I have to buy the product or not. Also then comes basically the desire to buy the product. ऐसा लेटर होना चाहिए that it creates a desire to buy the product, and finally he will take the action and finally he will buy the product. So the sales letter should be such one. Next, the sales letter must also have the star chain hook method. Now what do you mean by star chain hook method? Star means the introductory paragraph. The introductory paragraph should attract the attention and arouse interest among the buyer. The middle paragraph, that is the chain method, to convince the buyer to create a desire in that particular product. And finally the closing paragraph, that is the hook. It means to motivate action to finally buy the product. This is the hook method. ठीक है? तो सेल्स लेटर ऐसा ड्राफ्ट करो जिसमें ये स्टार चेन हुक मेथड यूज हो और फाइनली बायर प्रोडक्ट डेफिनेटली खरीदे. फाइन, दिस वाज अबाउट द सेल्स लेटर. Now next we will move to our next topic, that is promotional leaflets and flyers. Now promotional leaflets and flyers. Now what do you mean by this? Promotional leaflets and flyers are the strategies used to enhance the sales, to increase the sales. ये एक ऐसे तरीके होते हैं जिससे आप अपने सेल्स बढ़ा सकते हो. ठीक है? The purpose is to increase brand awareness and to reach the target audience. Okay, then it also make use of EDA formula, the formula which we have seen in the sales letter. To in promotional leaflets and flyers also the EDA formula is used. Then how can we create a promotional flyer and leaflet? The tips, main tips are, first, you should create a memorable headline for the promotional leaflets and flyers. एक memorable statement होना चाहिए, एक heading होना चाहिए. Then use colorful or striking graphics. ठीक है? कलरफुल ग्राफिक यूज़ करो, अपने प्रोडक्ट्स को बहुत सुपर्ब तरीके से दिखाओ बेसिकली. देन कीप योर टेक्स्ट शॉर्ट एंड टू द पॉइंट. बेसिकली आपको टेक्स्ट उसमें शॉर्ट रखना है, कलरफुल अपने जो भी आपके प्रोडक्ट्स होंगे उसको आपको बेहतरीन तरीके से दिखाने हैं, और आप उसको उसमें टेक्स्ट स्मॉल रखना है, शॉर्ट रखना है एंड ऑल्सो टू द पॉइंट. एंड फाइनली ऑफर अ डिस्काउंट और स्पेशल लिमिटेड टाइम प्राइस. Offer a discount, 20% discount, 30% discount for the person who will buy the first. ठीक है? And this product, this scheme is valid for so and so period only. तो such a scheme you can keep buy 2 get 1 free. So like these schemes you can keep so that more and more people get attracted and it enhances sales. Okay, so this was about promotional leaflets and buy. That's all for today. We have covered 2 topics over here. In the next video, we will come up with some more topics in module 3 of business communication by 2. See ya. Bye bye.